Hey everybody, what up? Scuff D here, and it is May 16th, 2019. Yesterday there was an update. It took a little bit to get into the game, but there's quite a few things added onto here, and some things upcoming. And I also didn't get a chance really to talk about some of the other previous updates, so that's what we're going to be looking at. So let's get into it. Now, into Legions, there we go. Bam. I'm still got the old icon going, but I believe they're changing that icon soon. Pop up this free crate here really quick. Okay, so first off, there's been a couple new features added. I'm going to go back to features that were added to the game, I believe about a week ago. And these are ones that I'm really, really happy for. If you go into a Warlord now, you can view and listen to their emotes, which is great because for so long, unless you're actually playing the Warlord and going into his list every time you have to start up a game, it was hard to see which ones you had, which ones you didn't have, or if you had a Warlord, you didn't play him a whole lot, but you just wanted to see what he sounded like. Like, for instance, I always play the sound off. So this will be the first time I actually get to hear what Modrum sounds like.
You'll make an excellent subject for my next experiment. I'm afraid I'll have to amputate.
Okay, that kind of sounds like it. I thought it did in my head. It was kind of like a giddy kind of sound in my head, so that makes sense. But if you don't have all the emotes for them, let's go back to another Warlord here. Space Wolves are definitely ones I don't have. I'm still missing Weird Make myself, but if you don't have the emote for them, you'll see that in red, and that'll kind of indicate how many emotes you don't have. So to go with that feature there, as well as the feature that they added a while back in terms of browsing the cosmetics and seeing which ones you are missing, it really gives you a good way to see exactly what these little features within the game that aren't necessarily tied to the cards or the collection for the playing the game, but collections for experiencing everything else that the game has to offer. And I've been really looking forward to seeing that updated at some point in time. So they finally added that on there, which was great. Trying to think what else they added previously. The emotes was a big thing here. They did they fix the replays? Oh no, that related to the replays. Now if you go into Lodge, you are now able to share things to your Lodge mates, which is great for those of you who aren't on Discord, or if you've got Lodge members who are not on Discord. You can share your replays straight to your Lodge by going into this little feature here. It's going to automatically share to my Lodge. They're going to wonder why I shared that, but that's where you can just share that to your Lodge mate, or Lodge members, and then they can click on it really quick, touch here to play it. It's very, like, it's that basic. There's not a whole lot of do you want to, don't you want to. Just testing that. Testing. But yeah, so I mean that there's one way to share your stuff there. There's also a wonderful way. The same icon is up here in the upper right hand corner of the screen here. That same arrow is there to share your deck list with your Lodge mates as well. So if you aren't on Discord or some other group chat, group service dialogue, you can share your list within the game to your Lodge members and have them critique or give some suggestions. To go one step further, and this is very helpful, especially when you are asking for feedback or assistance. And I haven't figured out the best way to get into it, so let's just take a look here. There you go. That's the icon that you pick. So that gives you that little green icon up there in the right corner is now a single way to view the collection of a faction. So when you are going into a deck discussion and somebody's, you want to get some suggestions, and you can show somebody, here, these are the cards I have. Help me out, or suggestions. What can I use? As opposed to numerous screenshots, which is the way it was before. There you go. Yeah. The way it was before, you'd have to take a screenshot of this, scroll up, screenshot of that, scroll up. So now you get in one comprehensive list. You can throw that out there if you're looking for deck suggestions, deck advice. You can share your deck list. You can share your entire card pool, and then go from there. So a lot of people have asked for those features previously. They've added those features to the game. I think those are great additions to the game, just as a way to build a player's experience, a way to connect with other players within their lodge, as well as at the same point you can take a snapshot of that and go on Discord or go on some other chat service if you're part of that, and share that information as well. So it makes it easier, makes it more accessible. With the game opening up to players on Steam, the more access, the better. Really, is what it comes down to it. So now that was those features were added, I believe, about a week ago. Now, as of last night, we've got a few new features added as well. So there's a new thing in here, and I haven't tried this yet, but when you are apparently challenging a player, you can now choose who goes first in a friendly mode, in a friendly challenge, which is interesting. The game, the Horus Heresy Legion's developers, their specific reasoning behind this is if both players have the same initiative, they can choose which player goes first, and this is designed to allow tournament matches to choose the starting order, which is very interesting. I don't think, and granted, I've only played in the Lodge Wars format, so I don't play a whole lot of other tournaments, but that kind of adds some precedence. Basically, if you're in a tournament, the tournament could allow for that to be an advantage to a player, as in, player with the highest win point total. If they're going into a matchup, they have the ability to go first, or even the ability to decide whether they go first or not. That's kind of neat. That's kind of a neat feature. I don't know how often that will come into play. At the very least, it definitely can come into play if you want to practice and get experience in terms of like, okay, I'm playing this warlord. I want to see what happens. How good does it work if I'm going second? How good does it work if I'm going first? There are some of those matchups. You're like, some of the warlords that are out there, you're just going to have hard times to go first very often with Ornitov. It happens in a rarity, but it's not going to happen that often. He's low, so is that worth experiencing? But if you've got a medium initiative warlord, that's a 50-50 chance that you might go first or second, depending on if you're facing a medium initiative warlord or if you're facing a low initiative warlord. So the high initiative warlords are another. How often does Corax need to go first versus another high initiative warlord? Generally, going first is not a bad thing. That's a positive thing, but it's just kind of a way, if you're doing some challenges, you can kind of throw that caveat out there too, as in, like, okay, well, let's play a game, but I go first, and just kind of, one up the ante there. So I think that's a neat feature. One thing else that is a neat feature, and I'm always for it, if you know and you follow it. As a matter of fact, I was actually thinking about this, like literally last week, sometime, and I was having a midnight play session, and some thoughts crossed my mind, and, well, do you know what this game needs? Do you know what it needs? I know what it needs. Deck slots. Oh, so many slots. Gotta fill them all. Look at that. There's empty space. Deck slots. Deck slots. This is an obscenity. Yeah. So deck slots. Deck slots. We're getting 6 more deck slots. 6 more are added. That's a whole nother row. That's a whole nother row. Now I already know what I'm going to do with these things. First off, 6 is not enough. I'm sorry. We're getting 3 warlords with the Space Wolves. We're going to get 3 warlords with the Thousand Suns, and we're going to get 3 for the Custodes. By my count, that's 9 deck slots. Now, I've only got 6 there, and yeah, I'm showing up here in the top. I've got 2 Space Wolves, but I'm missing 1 Primarch still. I'm missing Angron. We'll get into that in just a sec. So technically, I've already got 5. I've already got 1 of these 6 filled up. That's going to give me the 5 to fill up with 9 warlords. That's not enough. I need 1 more row. I need another 6 to happen before the Custodes hit, or when the Custodes hit. And that's just to have 1 for everybody. Again, and I've talked about it, I like having the option of having a Mandragorax deck that is for challenges already lined up, so I don't have to continually go in here and swap out some of these troop cards. Or the same thing if I'm using, if I'm doing Loken. I would like to run a normal Loken deck and not just a all backlash Loken deck with a few cards needed to, win against bots. It would be nice to have those options. It would be nice just to have a few, not meme decks necessarily, but challenge decks. And there are some out there. Ornithop. I would love to have a standard Ornithop that I don't have to go in continuously and swap out all the 8-cost vehicles and such. But I do it. So it's a great step. It's a very, every time I get new slots, deck slots, I'm happy. They're already planned. I already know what I'm doing with these things. But yeah. So if anything for this update, that's between the emotes last week and new deck slots this week, it's delicious. We've got 7 days and 7 hours before the Thousand Suns. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. And by the way, this has been a good battle for the top 3 spot. Masterclass really put out there towards the end. I think they've been hoarding tickets there for quite a while, and that's a good job on them. But tough battle in the top 5 here. So we got a whole week to go. We got a whole week to go before we get the Thousand Suns, and that's even more added to it. They've announced that they're adding the Custodes as the 3rd faction. That's the new mystery faction, which makes sense. Theoretically, the Custodes were part of the Battle of Prospero. I'm a little sad that we're not getting another Space Marines Legion, because that just means it's 1 less step closer for the Imperial Fist to enter the game, and realistically, they'll probably be one of the last legions to enter the game, just simply because of where they were at the time of the heresy. But there's other good stuff to come. So Custodes, Thousand Suns, Space Wolves, that's 9 deck slots. And then again, going into it, remember, we will also get a 4th warlord for each of those factions. So just between the those 3 factions, that's 12 warlords. Again, 2 rows worth of deck slots, and that's not counting if they do another event where we get another neutral warlord like we did with Fail or the Mandragorax or Saren. Lotera Saren kind of came in there midstream, and I think in set 3. So the probabilities are high for that. So we will need more deck slots. Thank you for the ones that you gave us. Please give us more. Now they also added the Space Wolf cosmetics to the game finally. So I have picked up a couple that have been available besides the emotes. I think, just a quote, I don't think I have any of these banners, but they look pretty fierce. They look pretty fierce there, those 3. Oh, and there's ones here. Yeah, that looks nice. That looks nice right there. What am I missing for the quotes? I was just missing this. All I ever wanted was the truth, and from iron cometh strength. But now I'm missing, someone get this man some mead. At the end, I will be there for the final battle for the wolf time. Very nice. for Wrestling Alpha. Some good stuff. So those have been added to the game. We can look forward to probably seeing the 1,000 Stun stuff pretty good into the game. They said that they add lodge badges for the Space Wolves, 1,000 Suns, and Custodes. I'll be honest with you, I don't change our lodge badge here. But let's take a look. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. Right down there, the bottom 3. I don't know how I feel about that Custodes one. I feel like it's kind of bland for as gold as they are. But it's nice to get some options. And the Lodge will not like it, but when those fists land, we are going fist. It's going to happen. If only forever, you know. But for the time being, we are keeping the Aquila, the Imperial Aquila. Because, you know, contrary to the normal people look at the trader's end, I take that to mean as in the end of all traders. That's the way I've always read it. This is where they end. This is where they die. This is where they come to die. They did fix some things in the gameplay. So there was a couple things. One thing that I encountered, and I don't know if any others reported it. Obviously, it affects Lucius as well as it affected Night Haunter, was the Battle Honor not triggering if they had a stolen Urdercool, which I had a game where I had Urdercool, and I went into Night Haunter mode, and I was really dismayed that I could just not sneak attack and destroy everything. That made me sad. And then go into stealth. Like, I could destroy everything with the sneak attack, but I wanted to stealth after that. I wasn't getting that battle honor. So that's actually been fixed, because the proper interaction is that should be included in there. Dealing 0 damage with cards such as Void Engagement no longer trigger abilities that happen when a unit is damaged, such as the Ogre Sergeant. That's been fixed. I don't know if that was triggering Sentenced or not, if a 0 damage would trigger Sentenced, but I would imagine that's in the same effect. Also appears to be there was a couple issues in regards to having 2 Rhino 77235s from the Iron Warriors, causing some problems with them drawing the same card from the deck. Or I don't know. I guess maybe if you only had 1 Astartes and you had 2 out, you'd only get 1 copy as opposed to 2 copies if you didn't have either in hand. So it sounds like they fixed that. And was an issue with the random damage, and this is actually a previous problem that they had with random damage. I think they just had to apply it to the new Space Wolf Storeband Hunters. For a while there, and when I say for a while, I mean like just the 5 days that these guys have been out, this deal 1 damage to a random enemy was sometimes pinging a troop that was at 0, and the game has fixed that in the past, where random pings no longer hit dying troops. So that was a proper fix that needed to be fixed. There's a couple other bugs that they fixed here, but nothing major. The main updates really we're taking a look at are with regards to the challenges, with the lodge badges being added with the new deck slots, and the emotes and the sharing of the replays in the deck list, which I think are huge. I think those are good things. I think those are worth reporting. Now, one thing I did want to go into, I mentioned tournaments, and I don't, like, again, my time's limited. I played the Lodge Wars tournament. I would love to play a few more bigger tournaments, just depending on if I have time and availability. I just missed out on the Legends sign up. I think by the time I figured I had the time on my schedule, it was too little too late. Maybe next time. But there's a wide variety of tournaments that are played on Discord. I can't say they're played on Discord. They're played in the game. They're hosted on Discord. And if you're not playing them, you should think about playing them, because it's a great way to gain experience with various formats. It's a great way to test your limits outside of one single warlord. That's a great way to engage with new players, or players that you don't play with on a regular basis. They have weekly tournaments. They have the Lodge Wars tournament, which I've put up videos for the Lodge Wars series and tried to explain how that works. They have currently the Horus Heresy Legends series, which is a tournament that uses the same guidelines that the Lodge War does, except it's for 1 player as opposed to a team of 3, and it's only for players who have legendary points. I believe it was at 1,400 or 1,600 or more. I'm not really sure. 1,400 or 1,600, or was it 1,000? there was a threshold there. So if you're over it, you could sign up. Well, they've just announced a second founding tournament, and the signups, I believe, for that are May 22nd, May 23rd, before the end of next week. Take a look if you're on Discord, or if you can get on Discord. Again, getting on Discord is not difficult at all. You just simply, where is it? It used to be on here. Oh, they took it away. No. Wait a minute. There's a way. There it is. There it is. You go to that Discord there. Discord icon is the one that's next to the Facebook. Go onto it and go into the tournaments channel, and you'll see the second founding, and that is actually for players who have less than 1,000 legendary points. Less than 1,000, which if you haven't hit Terra, you should be at 0 or less, or close to it, if you've just edged that threshold. So it's kind of a low, I don't want to say low experience, but like for players who maybe have not played as hard or play at more the mid-level, it's a good way to still play a tournament. The tournament rewards, depending on the number of players, currently, typically, offer anywhere between 100 to 2,000 gold, which now with the changes in the economy, that's nothing to scoff at. That's 1 crate to 20 crates, and then for usually the top player who wins, the first place prize is a choice of your Primarch, a Primarch of your choice. That's pretty nice, especially if you are a newer player or you are trying to etch out your collection. I know when we were doing Lodge Wars, we came in third, and we got 2,500 gold, I believe it was, for the 3 members on our team, which was quite nice. I was hoping to come in with the first place because my choice would have been to get Angron, because he's the only Primarch I need, but I'll take the gold. It's going to help me. I'm 293 crates when the time comes for set 4 for the whole Prospero Burns expansion crates. We'll see if I make it an even 300. But it was an option, as a way to play that. So playing tournaments, gives you play experience. Is a new way to shape up the play. You're not playing daily missions necessarily. You're actually going in and challenging players and pushing your limits. B, lets you meet new people, or interact with people that maybe you don't necessarily interact with, whether they're in your lodge or in another lodge. And C, gives you rewards. And so if you haven't considered it, I've mentioned it a couple times in the past, but look into the tournaments. I really hope at some point down the road that they actually make that an official feature within the game. I don't think it's difficult. I've seen some games, I think, that have kind of like it requires everybody to jump in and play all at the same time, which is a little difficult. But in that way, it is actually a tournament within the game itself, and you don't actually have to go onto a board. I'd like to see that get incorporated into the game, but that doesn't mean that it's not already part of that. And if these tournaments are sanctioned by Everguild, then there is prizing. And those tournaments that take place on the tournament chat in the Discord channel are sanctioned by Everguild. So there's prizing. So look into it. So we've talked about tournaments. We've talked about the updates. We've talked about what's coming up in the game. One thing that is on the radar, and there's been some teases online. There's been a couple people posted some images. Everguild themselves has got some message coming. I was waiting. It's 10:30 right now tonight. I was waiting to see if they put up an announcement. But I've been in contact with them, and they had it sounded like they had something coming up this weekend. And from the sounds of it, I do believe that we are going to get another Primarch in the shop, so stay tuned for that. Keep your eyes on the shop badge, because there's going to be alternate art, I believe, Angron. We're going to get an alternate art Angron, and usually what that means is that the normal art Angron, so this guy here, will be available in the shop for regular price gems. And then the alternate art Angron typically will be on sale in the decks list for a premium, probably $19.99, and then within that you get the alternate art, who comes with alternate emotes, who also comes with a fairly decently stacked deck for players who don't have a good pool. I'm not going to go in on the alternate art stuff. I don't pay cash if I can help it. If I pay any money, generally, I think, like I said, I've bought tickets from time to time, but that's about all I spend the money on. But I would definitely be spending some gems on Angron and fill out my set 1 through 3 collection complete, which will give me a full collection, and then that way it's just even more time and effort I can dedicate to all of set 4. So I hope those rumors are true. I hope that ends up happening this weekend. It should be very exciting, because if I recall correctly, I'm not 100% certain here on this because I don't follow all the GW stuff, but I believe it is the Skulls for the Skull Throne event, or Skulls for the Skull Throne weekend. I don't know. I don't want to sound like an idiot. It's been several years since I played the tabletop. I live in a remote area where I don't get to play a whole lot of tabletop games, so Horus Heresy Legions is really kind of my way to stay in touch with, besides outside the books, with actually the genre of Horus Heresy. So I don't get a whole lot of the GW Games Workshop, Black Library, Forge World, social stuff at this point in time. I don't know what events they've got going on, and one day I'll be back in touch with that, but for now I don't. So I believe that's related to that. I believe if we are getting Angron, it is because it is going to be the Skulls for the Skull Throne weekend, or Skulls for the Skull Throne event. So if you've got 1,600 gems, hold off. I don't want to tell you not to get what you, if there's a legendary coming up in the shop, but at the same time, if you don't have Angron, wait a week, because something tells me that he's coming down the pipe soon. Something tells me that he's coming down the pipe soon, and you don't want to miss out or be in a position where you might as well pay $20 when you could have just paid the gems. If you don't have the gems, play a little bit harder and work to get those gems, or, there's... How hard you want Angron is up for you. He's not the best as he used to be. There's been a lot more warlords added to the game, a lot more strategies added to the game now that really kind of knocked him down several pegs. I don't think even in this last month when they did the Q&A, I do not believe the devs had him in the top 5. He might still be in the top 5, but like in the 5th spot. And that's also just because he gets played a lot because of the speed of his game. But yeah, he's not as mighty as he once was, but he will be new for me, and I will gladly play him. So that's it. That's what's coming up, I believe. Again, cannot confirm that. There hasn't been an official announcement, but all signs seem to point that way. We've talked about the game updates. We've talked about everything else that has transpired in the last week, and hopefully some things that come forward. One thing that I will mention here too, I have also been in touch with Everguild. As I said, that's how I heard that they had something coming up this weekend. I believe I am going to be getting a few spoilers for Thousand Suns to spoil here, reveal, and discuss. I have not yet received those, but I will be getting those, and that's been pushed back from the email, from what I understand, because of whatever this announcement of this weekend is going to be. Whenever I get those, and I speak with them and find out when it is best for me to reveal them, what the timing is, as soon as I know more, I'll share more, whether that's via video or a post on Facebook, on Discord, and or both, just to let people know when to tune in. And we'll be going over those previews, because, boy, like I said, 7 days, 7 hours. That's not that far off, and it's pretty exciting. The Space Wolves have been pretty interesting, have been good. I think this event is as crazy as the points have been, the crazy the battles have been. I think this event has been fairly balanced, and the Space Wolves have got a lot of interesting stuff that they've shown, and I expect we're going to see much more so from the Thousand Sons as the first official legion with psychers at their disposal. I'm looking for good things, looking for a lot of good things. So I will keep everybody posted on that. But I have been in touch with Everguild, and I believe that is going to be coming up next week, or within the next 7 days, or sooner. I don't know. Well, it'd have to be within 7 days. Maybe over the weekend. Maybe Monday or Tuesday. It's going to depend on when I hear from them. When they say I can do the go ahead, but I wanted to announce it here, and hopefully I can make that a regular thing, because it's nice to get an early peek, but it's also super nice to be able to share that and reach as many players out there who are possible, whether they're tuning in on Discord often, or they check it out on YouTube, or they're checking out some of the other videos out there where there's several other players who are going to be doing the same thing. It's just a better way to spread the message of the game and get people involved, get people peeking and wondering, the Thousand Sons are finally part of the game. I got to see what they do, and just dive into it and get them intrigued, and hopefully the game keeps going. So keeps going for a long time, for 10,000 years, and then when it emerges, it'll be a grim, dark future where there is only war, and I don't know if they'd like that, but that's the way it is. That's what happens when you transpire with the forces of chaos. So I don't know what to tell you. Magnus did nothing wrong, or did he? All right, guys. I'll leave you on that note, because that could go one of two ways. Thanks for tuning in. Those are the game updates. We're going to get into some things coming up here soon. Hopefully super soon. And if not, well, I've definitely got some games to share. Some decks to test out. And I'm looking forward to picking up Oathweir Weirdmake. His name's a mouthful, because I really want to run a deck with him right now, but I don't have all the Space Wolf cards that I need just yet. So that's it for me. Again, thanks for tuning in. We will talk next time, and until then, keep playing Legions. All right, thanks. Good night.